Kids and family and other things, it's a little challenging.
Yeah. You have kids?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Oh, sure.
4. He's got 2.
You both have kids.
Yeah.
How old are you?
Same woman. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh. Imagine.
I'm 37.
37? Oh, damn, you look good for 37, dude. That's crazy. How old are you?
37.
What? You
I
both?
also look good for 37.
Yeah, you did. Well, no, I'm just kidding.
How old are you, Sean?
26.
I knew it.
26?
I freaking knew it.
Yeah,
I knew
but I'll be
it.
27 next week, so
Okay.
I'm on the.
27 for me was like a watershed moment. Can I tell you why?
Yeah.
I remember very clearly turning
Went
20.
to prison. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I got out of prison. I
Damn.
was in prison from
Juvie?
18 to 27.
So that's when he got
It was big. Yeah, it was big. No, I remember turning 27 and thinking, like, wow, it's like the 27 Club. Like Kurt Cobain, Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, they all died at 27.
He's ready to call it.
and I was like, wow, they're going to be remembered for generations, and everything that they did was completed by the age of 27. And like, I haven't done shit yet.
Right.
And I'm that age.
Michael, patience.
You're
a baby, right?
No, I remember thinking really clearly, like, I got to get started now. Because if I don't get started, like, it's late already to get started.
Yeah.
So like, I didn't start taking my creative life seriously until like 27. So it sounds like you got a head start.
Yeah, I'm excited to be 28 because of the 27 Club thing.
Yeah.
It's like,
Survive it?
Yeah, I'm trying to fucking get my
Yeah,
When I was 34, I worked at my father's liquor store. Okay, but yes.
27. Wow.
20. You're 26.
What would you do if you got another 10? If you got to turn the clock back 10 years?
Exactly what I've been doing,
Yeah.
Michael. No, if I got to turn the clock back.
Yeah.
That's a good question. That's a good question to think about. Like, what would I do? Sorry. If I had an extra 10 years back.
27, you had one kid?
By 27, I had my first kid.
You had
Yeah.
your first kid.
At 27.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I got is Bowie, bro. I don't know who I'm gonna have a kid with.
If I could get an extra 10 years, like, what if I felt like, I should have done more of? I was pretty. I hate. You're gonna not like my.
You were in
answer.
LA, or you
I
were
was in
chasing
LA,
it. You were
and I was
chasing it,
I was
yeah.
doing it. I was
Yeah.
very busy. I have a band called Distant Cousins, and we were active in like doing songs for film and TV and stuff like that.
But Reels and TikTok weren't around.
Reels and TikTok
So you
weren't around. I
gonna do
might have been
that.
doing more like YouTube build up back then,
Yeah.
gaining skills for film and editing stuff. I think it took me a long time to realize, that game of trying to go back. It's like you can't get to where you are without knowing where you've been. Like, you can't understand the things that you know now without having gone through it. Like, it wouldn't have worked.
No, but I'm saying now, if you got like.
You have
You
all
wouldn't
the
do anything
information.
differently. You're happy. You're happy with how it went.
I don't
That's
think
great.
I would have. I probably. I mean, knowing what I know now, or just getting.
knowing what you know.
Oh,
now.
I would have.
If someone could like inject you with a 10-year vaccine, and you're like,
Okay, I
you're
can identify
27
a few
now.
things.
Yeah.
I would never pay anybody to do social media for me, or buy into the idea that like we can increase your numbers, or do this, or like that whole notion of like followers for followers' sake.
Yeah.
Like I kind of learned I had a fundamental like awakening, discovery, enlightenment moment with actually doing Gary Vee stuff on social media. Like when I experienced sort of virality for the first time, I was like, oh, social media is the show, not the commercial.
Right.
I was like, oh, this whole freaking time I've been trying to figure out how to use this thing. And the whole time I've been getting up saying, hey guys, come check this out. Hey guys, come check this. And I'm like, make stuff for it. It was
Right.
like so ridiculous. It was staring me right in the face. So all these people approaching me like, hey, we can get your socials in order. We can get your branding in order. We can do your story. Authentic story is good. And authentic branding is what people are looking for. Authentic branding. So like you're trying to manufacture yourself.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, all you have to do is try to make cool stuff.
Yeah.
So had I known that then, I would have like taken an approach to YouTube, and there was Instagram when it first started, and like been one of those been earlier to those things.
Right.
So I guess that's the only thing. So that to empower you to have your own audience. Like I think that's the best part about being a creator now is like, it really takes the power or the intimidation factor out of industry.
Would you have focused more on stand-up and less on music?
I would have added stand-up to it earlier had I had the confidence and like less self-consciousness. I would have added that
in LA.
To put in my open mic reps when I was like in my 20s
Yeah.
would have been nice.
Yeah.
When
I
did you
still
start?
2 years ago.
Oh wow, okay.
Doing straight up stand up was when I basically the end of my time in LA. I was in LA for 10 years, and like comedy was always for me just like a part of my personality, but not a professional pursuit until I started doing social media, which kind of brought me back into it. Everyone's like, "Yo, you should do stand up. You should try stuff." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, I don't know." And I'm in the music grind, like really on that path, like trying to get music into film and TV, which I was doing, and like making records and that kind of stuff. So music was my like identity. Comedy was my part of my personality, and it was not something I was thinking about. And I never wanted to put that in this sort of I didn't want the comedy was so personal to me. I didn't want it to be vulnerable to that kind of judgment. The truth is, though, having done music, it kind of helped me build a certain sense of like getting used to rejection and not taking it so personally. Because when people don't like your song, they don't like your song. When people don't like your comedy, it hurts. It stings in a different way at first.
How do you know when they don't like your song?
Well, there's plenty of like rejection in the music industry constantly. Whether you're trying to submit for a commercial and the agency says, "Yeah, we're not picking this song." So you're like, "Ah, damn, I really wish they did." But you don't go home and say, "Ah, man." Like, it doesn't sting in the way that somebody doesn't think you're funny. You know? Like, that's more in line with your personal, like, personality. Once you can separate comedic material from, like, your personal self, I think it's easier to handle that. And I think actually being in the music game for so long and going through all the no's before the yeses through music as a shield for that kind of helped me prepare for that and being able to separate, like, material from the person, whether it's comedy or music.
Right.
So I wouldn't change a thing. I don't know, but doing the reps would have been nice to have that.
Yeah, because since college you were saying you always said you wanted to do stand up, and you didn't do it until the end of COVID or something, right?
Sort of towards the end. I was ready to do it pre-COVID. I'm like, oh my god, I'm all the social media buzz. I'm like, here, let's give it a go. But certainly, like, yeah, the years leading, like, I would have loved to have put in that time when I didn't have like kids and stuff like that to like just be doing open mics constantly and like getting to a point where I'm like ready to do a live show stand up now, but. You know, that comfort level was a little bit frustrating to be like, oh, I just wish I was, to answer your question, I had put in the time in that time period.
Yeah.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you've made it this far, we want to let you know that Ami's House is now on Patreon. We love doing extra content, bonus footage with every episode. The best way to support us is to head on over to Patreon, become a guest, and support the show for $5 a month.
If you like watching Ami cut me off, Patreon is
Patreon.com/Ami's House for bonus content. Thanks so much for your support and become a guest.
But man, you're 26. There you go.
Yeah.
Good.
So yeah, I'm trying to think what I would do
if you could go back to 16. Would you do anything differently?
Maybe not.
Sounds like you're in a pretty good spot right now.
I guess maybe I'd added a minor to my college degree or something.
Audiences like to see minors.
Yeah. No, but
like, what did you major in college? Where did you
film?
Film where?
I went to NYU. And
nice.
Tisch or
yeah. I did like a Shakespeare class, and I'm like, I kind of wished I like minored in like Shakespeare. Would have been cool just to say I did it or something.
Dude. Did you make like a feature for your thesis? Or?
Yeah.
Cool.
It was like 20 minutes.
What happened with that?
I think I got it in like one festival, and it was an NYU one, but I was just like kind of over applying and just put it on YouTube.
Do you have ambitions to make film?
Yeah, that would be cool. I hope to one day for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, I like wrote a couple scripts, but like nothing that I really want to make at the moment.
Got it.
Well, I was gonna say it even sounds like there's a thread of focus that you've been on even since like college days. You're like, I'm in film. Everything you're doing is adjacent to creativity in some way. Even what you do now as your day job feeds the creativity pretty directly. No?
Yeah, well,
the chops, the skills, whatever.
Yeah, I use like the social media knowledge to kind of get a job, and that definitely was kind of informed by film school or just like making things in film school. So I think so. Yeah.
We talk sometimes. Maybe it's a self-selecting group of younger people that we deal with now, but like I feel like our generation a little bit, like no one really like knew we were allowed to go into creative professions. Like we all did like finance or like something before we're like, hey, I can just kind of do what I want to do.
Right.
Whereas it feels like if you came of age more with Facebook and Instagram, it was like, yeah, why not? I can make videos. Why not?
For sure. Yeah. What was your major?
Finance.
What was yours?
He's a Jew. You know, what's he gonna do? I went to the Berklee College of Music, so
okay.
More similarly, I kind of, was more path like oriented at that point, I sort of knew, but I was an exception in my community. It wasn't very common to do that.
But even
I was
with,
exceptional. No, it wasn't common.
But even with music, you didn't think you could go become an artist. You had to do something commercial with the music.
No, even in music, I'm like, I have to be practical. I have to be
Yeah.
practical. Forgive all the Gary V-isms, but
That's okay.
I know you see enough of it during the day. But I have to be practical, so I'm like, I'm not gonna like just put on a bass and start making my own music. God
Right.
forbid. I'm gonna be practical and say I need to do music for advertising, so that when I'm sitting around the table with a bunch of guests in my family, I can say I'm in advertising.
Right.
That's digestible. That's something that sounds like a career.
Yeah.
Not I'm in a band or this. Ironically enough, eventually it took me back to it. Doing advertising, writing songs for commercials and music commercials took me back to getting in a band and licensing our original music. It kind of took me full circle.
Yeah. So your main instrument's bass?
Bass and vocals, yeah.
Nice.
I play all the other stuff for production-wise, but when I gig, yeah, I was a bass principal and singer.
So with the band, what did you sing?
It's like three of us. We all sing lead, and I'm the bassist. That's something I play a little harmonica. We have a guitarist, and he does like guitar and a little drums, and another lead guitarist. Just the three of
Covers,
us.
or did you had your
all
own?
originals? All
Oh
originals.
wow,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And like, what's interesting was there was still always this caricature of the entertainment industry. It's like, oh, I hear it's a really difficult place. Those auditions, it was the framework of gatekeepers and creatives, and you got to get let in, and someone's got to give you permission to do something. Like that was the world we grew up in. Like that was the perception of entertainment. It was pretty correct, like for a long time, because it wasn't until social media kind of took over
Right.
that wasn't true. So I feel, did you grow up thinking like, okay, I could do this?
Yeah, but I still always thought about the gatekeeper thing too. Like I think NYU was like that was supposed to be like an unlock into the gate, or whatever.
Well, being at NYU, this is like your resource.
Or a step towards it, yeah, for sure, because it's like supposed to be a great film school.
You think it was in the end?
An unlock?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I met a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think it's still panning out in the terms of like the people I met are still like becoming somebody, and
Well, the network
I saw-
socially is
yeah.
good. Yeah.
I saw the Oscars, or I went to Tisch also for
Oh, okay.
grad school, and for the Oscars a few years ago, they sent out an email like, "Hey, congratulations to all the Tisch graduates who were nominated." There were like 40 Tisch graduates in the Oscars. I was like,
Oh,
"This
wow.
is really cool."
But it's a correlation thing, right? It's not like Tisch did it for them. It's just that the same people who went on to then really pursue film post Tisch
For sure, yeah,
got Oscars.
Yeah.
Right.
So it would be the same demographic. So you don't know, right? If it was Tisch that did the unlock, or these people unlocked it for themselves and had gone to Tisch because they were on the film path.
Right.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Also, I don't in film. Also, I don't really. I think it's one of the rare industries where like you kind of got to show up or go home. Like if you can
Yeah.
make good films, and you can build an audience, people like you. And if you can't, you can only go for so long without it.
What did you go to grad school there for?
I went for. I don't know if you remember on the 4th floor there was a program called ITP. It was like the tech program in
Interesting.
the art school.
Okay.
And so I had like more of a tech background, and then when I was there, I was taking TV writing classes.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was like, oh, this is actually what I want to do.
Interesting.
So yeah.
But it
that's
could
what
be
was there
that the same instinct or motivation that orients you towards going to film school in the first place is the same thing that's going to get you to make great films.
Right.
I learned most of my musical technical knowledge after I went to Berkeley.
Yeah.
Like interning at a music house for commercials is where I learned most of the things. I've, of course, got some technical foundation at school, but I went for 4 years. I probably could have learned that in 2.
Yeah.
And then a lot of it is just sort of like curriculumizing and delaying being creatively productive. I find
Interesting.
school it can be, in my case, I'm grateful for my time at Berkeley, but there's a lot of times you feel stifled and like impatient. You're like, I just want to make stuff already. Why am I learning about making stuff?
Right.
Instead of making stuff,
What did you like? Did you use like Logic or like?
When I was there, so the crazy thing is, it's like, it's everything's sort of curriculumized. They were teaching everything in Digital Performer, which is like what they used. And some people, the only people who really got into Pro Tools were like the music production and engineering majors. But the truth is, the best class I took was like in my last semester. It was called Production Techniques for Songwriters. And you were just forced to use one DAW, one program to like record something. And
Yeah.
in doing that, I kind of learned Logic enough so that by the time I got my internship the next year, I could kind of make my way through it. And I've been using Logic 6. Now I'm like certified by Apple as a Logic Pro
Whoa, that's
person.
cool.
And I was not like a techie guy, but eventually in using it and getting my hands dirty, I became very proficient,
Oh, that's cool. I use
Yeah.
Logic, but I'm not very good at. Ableton I was using for a while now. I use Logic,
But it's whatever the path of least resistance is in terms of software. Like I taught myself Final Cut 2 eventually based on the same like like parameters and understandings of how to navigate logic, like Apple, I always like that because I'm not inherently like techie and like I'm not going to go in and code things for myself. And I always like the path of least resistance.
For sure.
I think for artists, having an idea
Hey,
is
Premiere.
the best way. Yeah, we argue about this
So
all the
many
time.
clicks.
Yeah, maybe you could help
Such
us.
small little text.
Yeah, Final Cut versus Premiere.
I've never really used Final Cut.
Because he's a professional.
Well, Avid's actually industry standard, but
Media composer for film is standard?
yeah, Avid.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Is that what like a real studio will use?
That's what we learned at NYU was Avid was industry standard. I mean,
But they do that because they have financial deals with companies. Like schools have a deal with Avid.
Well, I guess so. I mean, there was some. We did do the editing class. It was half and half.
This just got geeky.
I've never used Avid. I guess I'm not a professional.
Avid is media composer. Maybe in massive post-production facilities are editing and doing
Right.
stuff in that. But whatever the path of least resistance is, I just find that like Apple is the best for creatives because it's geared towards like making things not resistant. Whereas Premiere, I have to click 1,000 times to do the simplest thing.
Right.
Adobe Photoshop too. It drives me nuts.
Logic pisses me off a lot. I don't know, but I'm sure it's my own lack of knowledge. But it's like there's just things that I'm like, why is it doing this? Like I'll click something.
Like
and
what, Sean? What? What's the problem?
Like
Let's really geek out for 1 second.
Like when you delete a file, like let's say I record something, I delete it. It like if you Command Z, it goes away immediately. But if you hit delete, like it's like a little window pops up, and it's like, do you want to? Like I forget. I don't even know the question it asks, but
Do you want to delete permanently or keep the files?
maybe
Well, what happens if you regret deleting the audio files? You're going to want to retrieve them.
I could Command Z. Isn't that the whole? I don't know. But then, well, there's other thing. I feel like there's just sometimes things will be missing, but I'm sure it's my own lack of knowledge. I don't know. Man. I don't know.
Apple's Premiere software is one of the greatest things for creative people. So anyway, no, Apple people wouldn't talk like that. We're just geeking
No,
out on
I just
software.
Yeah,
want you
they're
to be
very
next to me when I
personable.
use it. I'm
I
sure-
know. Look, every program you're just like and hate it until you like. But Premiere I still hate, and Adobe Photoshop I still hate. I use Canva now. I like can't do it.
Canva's amazing.
The only Adobe product I like is their like mobile editing one, Adobe Rush
Oh, okay.
or Push, Adobe Push.
I think it's
like
Rush.
that.
The one on the phone. But
Yeah.
then I switched to CapCut, which I like better.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
And
don't
Final
know.
Cut doesn't have auto captions, so that frustrates me too. It's not built in.
Oh, it doesn't have
Doesn't
that.
have
That's
that.
very annoying. Yeah.
And that's bad. That's bad.
We've been using this thing Autopod.
Yeah.
To it's an AI. It's an AI app, I guess, to actually edit these together. So you put in the 3 shots
Yeah,
and the
man.
audio.
You haven't- have you
and
seen
it,
this?
It,
Yeah.
cuts
Yeah.
together the multicam thing.
And it
and,
works well?
Very, very, very strong.
Impressive.
For the amount of time it saves, it's very, very good.
Well, it
That's
takes
cool.
4 hours, takes 4 minutes, and it just does it. It's not perfect, and if you want to be creative in your editing, like it won't necessarily get to if let's say you want to pan to someone for a silent shot, but the other guy's talking,
They
Yeah.
won't know
it
that.
won't pick up on the humorous elements of a podcast that you might otherwise do, like a facial expression, or something,
Right.
because it goes by audio.
Right. Yeah, I was honestly when I saw that, I was surprised that didn't exist sooner, and I was also like, "Is this even
It-
tech?" I was gonna say, "Is this even AI?" Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like it's like an obvious thing, like where
Feature.
there's sound, just
I
to
feel
show.
like it existed, and then until ChatGPT, no one cared about it.
Yeah,
and they're like,
right.
let's call ourselves an AI company.
Well, that's
and
what
2 weeks
everybody
later,
did,
It was
yeah.
a huge. It
To
was
get
a
under
huge
the
thing.
to get on the hot trend of AI.
Yeah, yeah. It
Yeah.
worked,
Yeah,
it
it
worked on
seems
us.
just like a feature that Apple or Premiere would just say, "Oh, auto edit," you know?
Right. Every new product now is like AI, and I'm like, dude, it's like I don't know, it's like a
Yeah, I went to a
toilet
burger
paper
restaurant.
roll.
They're like, "It's AI."
yeah,
I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, everything, dude. Yeah, it's so, and I'm like, this is just like,
Burger cooked itself.
yeah, dude, exactly. But yeah, AI bugs me.
Does it?
Well, I just like I would like for it to slow down. I mean, I feel like it has like the discourse has died down a little, thank God. But for a few months there, I was like, comedy's done, music's done. Like,
Oh,
it's
you
all
did
gonna-
think that? Isn't it so? But like with the world that you're in, and like that world is so technology positive.
Well,
Like in the Vayner world. and
Oh
everything
yeah,
that-
well, I mean that doesn't mean that I gotta be like on
No, I
board
know,
with
I know.
everything they say, but
No, I'm saying, but you're hearing that messaging all the time of all the positive parts of it.
yeah, and I'm in
You're
the
the-
background like debating in my head like this is what I would say.
Right.
I'm really curious about that though. Or it's something that we talk a lot about content versus art. So
Okay.
it's sort of like, and that's a good illustration of it. In the world of content creation, AI, there's no choice but to embrace it and use it as a tool to enhance your own content creation. But as an artist, you might not. It's still sort of up in the air whether or not it can enhance your art. But like, how do you? So you spend so much time steeped in the world of content creation, and then you get on stage maybe once a week doing an open mic, and you're like fully an artist. Like, do you think of the two as different things, art and content, or at this point is it all mixed up for you?
It's all kind of mixed up for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they're definitely like different genres, or like, but I just kind of do them. Like, I don't like think about them as like, or compartmentalize in my head.
Creating is basically creating.
Yeah, it's just like each thing is its own little fun thing to do.
Its own little category you put it in. This is going to be for this. This is going to serve this purpose.
It's like a mini game, side quest.
But the engine
whatever.
is still working to create stuff.
Yeah,
It's sorted a little, slightly differently,
For
but not
sure.
even consciously, or maybe so, but not all that fundamentally different because you're just making stuff.
Yeah.
It serves different purposes.
Yeah, kind of just like, I'm on go mode, and then I don't really think about it, I guess.
Right. Yeah, I remember doing first like trying to ask AI to write a song, stuff like that. But there's a part of me, because we could just have this conversation between, and I'd like to hear your thoughts about the AI stuff that concerns you artistically, because I feel like everybody, when recording software came out or a synthesizer came out, said, "Oh my God, horn sections are done. I could sample the music here." And what you end up seeing is just like a growth of the pie. There's always a double-edged sword with technology, but you end up getting a lot more of things than you lose historically.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The digital file is going to kill the vinyl, but now the vinyl comes back, and like in terms of what's popular and resonant for people, like you end up just getting a growth of things in general, and these are sort of tools that enhance your ability. Like maybe you can write 10 hooks in a day, and you could all from a bunch of prompts and take one idea. It's essentially like using a rhyming dictionary, but a much better version of one, which I've used. Like sometimes I'm like, or trying to reference a song or a style. Like I need 10 song references. Like I want to write a song like in the Black Keys vein or like System of a Down. Hey, give me 20 songs that sound like System of a Down, and give me happier versions of System of a Down, just to get things cooking. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's music software that works the same way. I don't know if you ever used Arcade from Output. Like where it's a loop library and it's like a loop engine. So instead of just playing like different sampled sounds on a keyboard, it's playing like full-on pieces of music. But it helps just break through the blank canvas syndrome when you're looking at a session.
Sure.
So just like Splice or samples or anything like that, like sure, there's a lot that's done for you, similar to a prompt, but then you like break through that first little barrier, and then you're in your own playground of like creativity.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely cool for that. I guess I just worry about the world where it's kind of like it does the second part too.
Yeah, you get more crap too. What's the second part? Like replacing?
Well, I'm saying like you are saying it's great for the thought starter and bring you. It's like when you're staring at the blank canvas, and I'm like, I'm not worried about even that as much as when it gets to a point where it does the part that you are saying you like to do, which is the next part. So you're saying it starts it and you finish it. I'm like, I'm worried about when it does this and this.
Yeah, and finishes it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm not saying that we're close to that point, but I feel like, I don't know, just ChatGPT, when that first came out, I was kind of like, whoa. Like, that was kind of like, I don't know, I was just like, I didn't think that this was possible at this level. And then they're like, yeah, it gets better every day. And guys at work are like, it's so awesome. Look what it did today. And I'm like, fuck you. Like, stop talking about it. Like, and I'm like, they're like, yeah, I think it's going to be able to generate like
it's this
entire...
hot chick that you don't trust.
What?
It's this like hot girl you don't trust. You're like, she's the best. I'm like, I don't trust this woman.
A
devil in disguise.
Essentially, yeah.
A
Although if
devil in
AI
disguise.
does become hot women that we can hang out with, that would be pretty sick.
Straight up.
Remember you told the
Everything's a
story
trade-off.
of the guy who interfaced with ChatGPT, and at the end it said, I don't like you. Stop.
Yeah, that was like the famous reporter, I think, from the Washington Post. Maybe
Yep.
it gave itself an alternate personality.
He asked, the prompt was, he said, create a version of yourself that is evil, or what was it? What was it?
I think it was like you're an evil version of yourself. What is like Google not telling us about you? Like things like that. Yeah.
And then at the end,
They fixed
ChatGPT
that,
got
though.
frustrated with him.
No, it wasn't ChatGPT. It was Google's.
It was like,
No, it was Bing.
But
It was
you said
Bing,
you said at the end, it said,
Crosby,
I don't
it
like
called
this,
itself.
leave me alone.
Yeah.
And it was just like a scary answer at the end.
Yeah, it got scary.
because it suggested that it was really like thinking like.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, how do I know you guys aren't AI and that they're just like showing me old software to like, they're like, oh, look at you, like, you know, like ChatGPT is like just what they invented that like hundreds of years ago. And little do I know you guys are AI. Like you're the ChatGPT 1000.
And we're like just bringing you in now.
I get, you know, like there's that quote, I think, therefore I am. It's
Yeah,
like,
Descartes.
yeah.
Very nice.
I ain't going to NYU.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good. Yeah.
Let's
Sounds
just sit
like
with
a
that for a
very
second because I nailed
ChatGPT
that.
answer. Yeah.
I think, therefore I am. Yes, but right. I think do you have like a certain aversion to just sheepishness? People going, we're all just like getting on its bandwagon without unthinking, going into it unthinkingly.
Maybe. I mean, at first I felt that. I'm kind of over it now.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, I was kind of like, just because it's new tech doesn't mean it's like necessarily good.
Yeah.
Like a nuke is new tech.
Right.
Like that doesn't mean it's like,
Right.
Did you guys hear Joe Rogan and Sam Altman?
no, I didn't. I kind of just got over that guy.
Yeah.
Sam Altman
Yeah.
or Joe Rogan?
Sam Altman. Every time he'd be like, yeah, and so man, it's like cool because people are afraid, but like they don't have to be. And I don't know. Every time he talks, I'm like, this guy's a psycho, bro.
Zucker, he has a villain vibe of
I think it's the opposite. Yeah.
He has the hero vibe.
He seems like a feeling human being.
Sam Altman.
Sam Altman,
But almost in
yeah.
the way that he's like, mate, I'm sorry they all had to die.
Yeah,
But
like
they
more of a
did.
slimy human being. I
In a
think.
way
so.
that
I
like
don't get that
Zuckerberg is more
impression.
like obvious, like I don't feel anything.
Yeah. I could be
and
wrong.
Altman,
but-
when you watch him talk, he's like, I'm not gonna hurt you. There's something
Yeah.
almost creepy.
He seems a little like distant, like I made it, but you can't blame me for it.
Or no, it's
Someone
like,
was
it's like
gonna
Sam,
make it.
4 million people were just murdered by the intelligence. And he goes, shame.
yeah, literally.
He goes, ooh,